tuned in with We Are Jersey Magazine. My name is Melissa, and I have here Brad Butler II. He is an athlete turned international award-winning motivational speaker, and he has a couple of gems to share with you today. Hey, Brad, how are you?
I'm good, Melissa. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for asking. So, this is a time where people need a whole lot of motivation. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. But I want to first start off, with introducing you. Now, you were an athlete turned motivational speaker, and you do have a history of a lot of people telling you can't do a lot of things, and yet here you are. Let's talk about that a little bit. I know one of the biggest obstacles was being in special ed for 10 years. Let's
Yeah, that was rough. That was
I
rough.
bet. I
I'm telling
bet.
you, I wouldn't wish that on my worst
One
enemy.
of the biggest obstacles that you had faced was, being in school for 10 years under, special ed courses. How, has that been a challenge or something that you have overcome?
Well, you know what? I kind of look at it as, like a blessing and a curse kind of thing. Obviously, I didn't like it because I had to, deal with the mental warfare of being in there and being labeled a special ed kid, all the names that they call you retarded, remedial, stupid, dumb. You know how kids are,
Right.
so there was that part of it that I couldn't stand. And also being, in the classes, the small classes away from everybody else, it looked like solitary confinement. It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't necessarily a fan of that stuff, but I didn't realize that being in those classes, being in that environment, it built a lot of resiliency in me. So, I got told no a whole lot, and I got told what I couldn't do a whole lot. And, people will put labels on you. And I believe that, if it's your story, if your life, right, you have to put the label on yourself. You can't allow other people to do it. So, dealing with those ups and downs in those classes for 10 years, man, like just think about it. 10 years is a long time.
It's a
And
long time.
there's people I know of who, were in those classes and they did not really like bounce back from it. It was just like
Right.
it was. So for me to be where I'm at right now is nothing short of a blessing. So, I mean, to God be the glory for that.
Amen. God bless. Yes, most definitely. Now, I do want to mention or speak on the fact, like you had mentioned, you get a lot of labels, retarded, slow, and then going into like being an athlete, and then of all sports, football, a sport where you do have to be highly motivated. How did your self-esteem change at that point?
Well, I realized that with football, it's a team sport, so you can rely on other people to help you. But as far as getting the most out of it, you have to be willing to put in the work yourself. So, extra laps and workout sessions and paying attention to details. Um, but as far as sports in general, you get what you give, right?
Right.
So I know a lot of people who are way more athletic than I was, probably bigger, faster, stronger, had the intangibles, they fit the build, like they look perfect as far as a athlete, but they didn't go as far as I did. Um, and I'm not saying that I didn't go to the NFL or anything like that, but they didn't get to play collegiately, or they
Right.
didn't get to play for, they didn't get recruited to like some of the teams that I got recruited to,
Right.
or some of
Right.
the offers that I got offered. So yeah.
Most definitely. And let's touch on the most obvious. You went from athlete to motivational speaker.
Right.
Let's talk about that transition.
Yeah, for me, I didn't think it was like a real hard transition because I took the mentality of being an athlete and brought that over to being a motivational speaker. And I'm competitive. I'm there to compete. So, I know that there are other speakers out there. And the way I see it is I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna put my content out there, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna get on stage and I'm gonna speak and I'm gonna pour my heart out. I'm gonna leave it all out on the table, or I should say on the stage. Whereas, if it's on playing football or a sport, I'm leave it all out on the court, all out on the field. That's the saying that they like to
Mhm.
use. So it's the same thing for me. When I get out on the stage, like sometimes I'm sweating because I'm like, I'm giving it everything I have because I don't know if it's gonna be my last opportunity to speak. Like I don't know what my life is gonna bring. I don't know when my life is gonna end. So I want my speaking engagements, if that were to be my last one, I want to feel proud of it. I would want my family to feel proud of what I said and what I did. And more so than that, I want to make sure that whatever it is that I'm saying on stage, I'm also living it as well.
Right. Right. Most definitely. And, you did mention, some uncertainty, and we're all living through a time and have survived, thank God that we have the pandemic. And that was a very uncertain time for a lot of us. And as a man of motivation, how were you able to keep yourself motivated during, such uncertain times and unmotivating times?
Yeah. Well, I mean, luckily for myself, I have mentors who are able to, uh, give me guidance in times like this. Like this is something that we've never seen before,
Right.
right? In our
Right.
lifetime. So this was just out of nowhere. So I was thinking about it from the standpoint of, man, I'm in school right now, like working on my master's degree. So this was tough for me, and I'm a grown man. I understand how to keep myself motivated and keep working through bad situations and things of that nature. And this was hard on me, right? So
Right.
I can only imagine how much of a struggle it was for middle school kids, high school kids, some college kids, right? Who have never experienced anything like this before, and for them to have to deal with it during like their senior year, so they didn't get their prom, they didn't get to walk
Yeah.
across the stage and get that
Especially
euphoric
special
feeling.
ed, special education kids. It's like you're there for extra help, and then now everything's remote.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So the system was already needing some help as it is, as far as the students that are in special ed classes, as far as getting them resources, tutors, more help, whatever it is, effective communication between the educators and the students. So that was already something that needed work. And then you add the pandemic to this situation. So you can't tell me that the situation got any better for every student that was out there, no matter what level you
Right.
were on, the situation got worse.
Right. Most definitely. So, you yourself living it, what I guess what types of habits or how, were you able to adjust, and what is the best advice that you can give for, students that, that are younger going through this as well?
Well, for the students or the youth out there that are old enough to understand like their own feelings, they know, okay, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm depressed. So, like they have that EQ, right? That emotional intelligence. They already
Right.
understand. So you might have some that are in middle school who have it. You have some that are high school, some in college that they might understand it and they can kind of uh, get a better understanding of what I'm saying. um, those who understand their feelings, what they're dealing with, the best thing for them to do is first get to the point where they say, okay, I'm not okay. I'm not okay in this space. I'm depressed. I got to get out the house. Like whatever it is that's bothering them, that's ailing them, I need to get out the house. I need to be around some people. I need to talk to somebody. I need this. I need that. Whatever it is that they're having an issue with, they have to address it first and say, okay, I'm not okay. And then from there, they need to actually seek help and guidance. So whether that's from an educator or that's from a parent, somebody that they love and trust, they need to go to that person and let them know, hey, I need help in this area. And they should be able to provide them with some type of resources or a conversation, some mentorship to help guide them through what they're currently dealing with. Right. And then
Right.
the last thing is I need them to be consistent. Right. I need them to be consistent with getting with the resources and the help that's given to them. I need them to be consistent as far as using it. So whether it's a tutor, a group call, a counseling session, seeing a therapist, if they're playing sports, keep playing, keep working out, keep doing the things that keep you in a good mental health space, listening to music, cooking, cleaning, whatever it is that puts you in your happy place. I need you to do that so that you don't feel like you're alone or the world won't get better. Like we know that everything is starting to open up again, but we're not quite there just yet, right? And until we get there, we need to make sure that the students are definitely taking care of their mental health, as well as the educators and the parents, right? Because we're all dealing with this pandemic and people are sheltered in and they're working from home, and I'm not talking about the teachers are just overworked. It's crazy. It really is. And people aren't talking about it enough. And there needs to be more people talking about how much these parents, these educators, and these students have gone through. And with me being in the field of studying for counseling, I know that in the very near future, there is going to be a surplus of people who need to seek counseling to get themselves through the pandemic situation and the trauma that it caused for them. So I think that those are the steps that they need to take. The first one is they need to be aware of the fact that they're not okay if they're dealing with that situation. If they feel like they're not okay, they need to address it and say, okay, I'm not all right. The second thing they need to do is actually seek guidance from an educator or professor, a professional, or a parent, so or guardian, somebody that can help to get them the right information or the resources that they need. And then the last thing is they need to be consistent with using the resources that are available to them.
Right. And that'll definitely, at least get you started on the ball during this pandemic, right?
Right.
And that was well said for, students and or the youth that can understand, emotional intelligence. What type of advice can we give to parents who are also, trying to help kids who don't have that understanding at this point? But, what type of advice can you give them, especially if, we have people listening who do have children who are also in special education courses? How can we help those parents, also better handle the situation at hand?
Okay. So I'm not a parent, but from what I've seen and heard from the parents that are out there and have been doing well with their students who have had to, work from home and study from home. Um, I guess it's called remotely.
Yeah.
What they've been doing is, those constant checkups,
Mm,
checking on them. Okay, hey, how you feeling? How you feeling today? Are you all right? Do you need to go outside? Do you need to take a walk? You need to take a break, right? Okay, how are you doing with this? How are you doing with that? Have you talked to your friends or family? Like, just constantly checking on them. I'm not talking about being annoying, but just checking on them enough just to make sure that they're okay and making sure that there's an open line of communication so that they feel comfortable if something is wrong, that they can come to their mom or dad or their guardian and express to them, I'm not feeling okay with X, Y, and Z without them feeling judged.
right, right, most definitely. And, as a youth, school is not the only type of stress that, you face. What would you speak on to other types of stresses that, the youth may face during this pandemic, especially?
Well, with this whole pandemic situation, um, I've said it before in other interviews that I believe that we're not necessarily living in a pandemic, we're living in purpose, because this whole situation, this pandemic situation, has just amplified our emotions. Like it's amplifies what we do well, the things that we don't do well. It's amplified those things. So if you were the type of person who you read a lot, or you're a motivator, or you did it more, like you read more, you would write more, like you just do the thing
Right,
that you do well, you probably just do it more. But if you were the type where you had some you for example, say if you were to use drinking or smoking as your vice, like you would self-medicate, as your way
right,
of dealing with stress, you probably did it more than you normally would. And because of this situation, because there's no other outlets, or you feel like
mhm,
there's no other outlets. So that's something to just be mindful of going through, this pandemic, as I believe we're getting toward the tail end of it. And
right,
that's why I also said that I believe that there's going to be a, a large increase as far as the people who go out there and actually start to attend therapy sessions.
right, right, most definitely. I mean, there's already, an increase in, therapy sessions, and which I'm proud of because I should have already been in place. Let's be honest. Everyone deserves therapy.
Right, right.
But as outside is opening up back again, what can you say or how can you speak on just even that transition again from having to always stay inside, so then now it's like, oh my god, we're outside now. It can be pretty overwhelming to some people because it's been a little over a year now.
Yeah.
What can you speak on that?
Well, as far as, making the transition back, I mean, follow all the guidelines that are out there for us. You know, wearing the mask, 6 feet apart, whatever the case may be, whatever the rules are that they have set out there. Do what's best for you. Do what you feel the most comfortable thing that's going to make you feel the most safe. If the vaccination is a good idea for you, you feel that's the best option for you, then go ahead and get it. If you don't think the vaccination is the best idea for you and you're opposed to it for whatever reason, then no problem, then don't get it. But do what's best for you. Do what you feel is going to be the best option for you. As far as, you know, you can still wear the mask if that's what you want to do. But I know we're definitely they're definitely starting to push toward no longer wearing the mask. As we're, like I said, we're getting toward the tail end of this pandemic situation. So I believe the best thing for people to do is educate themselves on the situations and do what they feel is the best for them without judging anyone else's decisions.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And as outside opens up again, are we going to be seeing you on stages more and more?
Yeah, I definitely would hope so. Like, I know I'm still doing virtual speaking engagements, but I have done, I think I've done one or two speaking engagements in person since the pandemic. It was different, obviously, because
Right,
the
right,
social distancing, everybody had masks on, everybody was spread out. And I'm on the stage, you know, by myself, so I'm not near anybody. So there's
right.
that. And I mean, it worked out. It went well. So I didn't have any complaints. So I'm still open to, being able to do in-person speaking engagements as long as, we're following the guidelines, doing things and being as safe as possible.
Most definitely. And I would just ask, just for a last word of advice to, youth or you just people that you see a little more of yourself in, what types of words of advice would you give to them?
People that I see myself in. Well, you know what? I end some of my presentations with this, so I will use this because I think it's still relevant. I would say if there's anyone out there who is kind of wondering, what they should do, like what direction they should go in, trying to stay in a positive mindset throughout this whole thing. The main thing that I'll give you is be careful of your thoughts because your thoughts become your words. Be careful of your words because your words become your actions. Be careful of your actions because your actions become your habits, and be careful of your habits because your habits become your legacy, and that's how the world will remember you.
Most definitely. That was powerful and motivational. Brad, thank you so much for sitting here and chatting with me. Again, y'all heard it here with We Are Jersey Magazine. Please do not forget to add Brad on Instagram and on socials at Brad Butler the second. And that is Brad Butler the number 2 and D as in second.
Yep, that's it. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's always a
We
pleasure.
are Jersey. We are Jersey. We are Jersey. We are Jersey. We are Jersey.